everybody for being in attendance. So being the 10th of February 2025, we are beginning with a annual meeting, and I will just do an acknowledgement, if I may. Devonport City Council acknowledges and pays respects to the Calibre Pakeha people as the traditional and original owners of Lutruwita and continuing custodians of this land on which we gather. We also acknowledge and pay our respects to the Tasmanian Aboriginal elders past and present. All persons in attendance are advised it is council policy to record council meetings in accordance with council's digital recording policy. The audio recording of this meeting will be made available to the public on council's website for a minimum period of 6 months, and the meeting will also be live streamed on council's YouTube channel. I do thank the councillors for being here. We do have 3 apologies: Councillor Murphy, Councillor Hollister and Councillor Sheehan. And I will note that in accordance with Council's Planning Authority Committee policy, the members of the committee have invited Councillor Alison Moore to fill a vacancy for this meeting on Monday, 10th February 2025. Moving right along, do I have any declarations of interest from my councillors here tonight? No, thank you. So item 3 is the development reports. We're moving to item 3.1, which is for 1357 and 9 Higgs Court, Devonport. All the information is there in the recommendation. If I could have a mover, please.
So moved.
Councillor Viney, and seconder, please. Councillor Ennis, thank you. Councillor Viney.
Thank you, Mayor. Quite a big development across several plots in that site, and one that council's been kept updated with for quite some time. So certainly pleased to see this one progress. If I had any concerns, which I think I do, it's just the pure size of it. However, as I spoke to at our last meeting, council has taken to try and increase this style of medium density housing in the city, and it certainly fits the scope for what we're trying to achieve. I think in particular, if I had issues, it's really in and around that lot 5, and I think the one representation that we got in sort of spoke to that they're certainly taking the brunt, I guess, of the impact of this development. Most of all the other adjoining properties are commercial, so certainly won't be as impacted. That size of lot 5, it's 3 stories high and quite a concentration of new residences. That's going to see quite a lot in that corner, and as the representation put in, it would impact their amenity. However, as the planning officers have pointed out, it does fit within the building envelope. It's not too high. It's in accordance with the planning requirements. The setback's okay, and I did have a quick chat prior to the meeting just to double check, and I've moved from the picture that I believe it's on page of the agenda, page 21. It's got a good setback there, and it shows what looks like landscaping, so there'll be some trees screening that boundary to the north. It also shows with the balconies on the 2nd and 3rd level, but there looks to be some sort of screening, so hopefully that will reduce some of that potential to impede on the neighbour's backyard. The other thing with a building that size would be shadowing, overshadowing, but that's been pointed out that won't be a problem with the location being to the south of those buildings. Those residents along Parker Street. So taking that into consideration, I'm happy to endorse the plans as are. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Viney. Councillor Ennis.
Thank you. 42 residents going in that area, which will be badly needed by our city. I had a couple of questions, or ensuring that the landscaping that's sort of shown on the plans goes in. It's really important that we continue to plant and have good screening and a bit of green area around developments. So hopefully that will happen. And the other thing that I wanted to ask about, with on lot 5, I think there is with things like the FOGO bins and the recycle bins, etc. Are they going to be a shared bin, or how's that going to work for that area? Through you, man.
So, Mr. Mount, you just needs to speak.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor, thanks for your question, Councillor Ennis. Certainly the larger lot, lot 5, there's a condition on the planning permit about waste management, and lot 5 is going to be undertaken by a private contractor for rubbish collection.
Thank you. There has been some developments with shared bins, etc., and there's been a few issues with it. I mean, I'm not sure what guarantee we can have to ensure that there's no overflowing and sort of additional refuse around the place. I don't know. You guys have clearly looked at it, I suppose, and think that it's acceptable.
Through you, Madam Mayor, yeah, certainly the tracked impact assessments also looked at matters such as the ability for an actual waste truck to get up in there and pick up the rubbish. Certainly, if it did become an issue in the future, we've got some legislation we can follow that up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there further questions or comments from the councillors? No, if not, I certainly will just comment that it's been a long time coming for this development to get up and running, and we've always been looking forward to this old site being utilised to the best of its ability. And I think that Homestead have come up with a great plan. They've workshopped with us, they've been here for us to ask questions, and we certainly have done some thorough research in this area of what it's going to be, how it's going to look, and I think I'm really looking forward to seeing this development be started finally. So that would be great. If I could ask Councillor Viney to close the debate, please.
Yes, Mayor, consider it closed.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Item 3.2 is 110 Brook Street, East Devonport. Visitor accommodation. The recommendation and the information is there. If I could have a mover, please.
So moved.
Councillor Viney, thank you. And a seconder. Councillor
Seconder.
Ennis, thank you. Councillor Viney.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, this is a requirement with the growing population of the city, but I guess more specifically for this one, it would be targeted towards the seasonal workers. We know already there's quite a concentration of, I guess, this style of accommodation in that part of East Devonport. So it certainly fits in what is sort of immediately around there. We'll note there are a couple of representations on this development as well. I was just hoping for a little bit of clarification on a couple of them. There was one about parking, but that was within the planning requirements. There's actually excessive parking, so tick on that one. So the question about the driveway width and length, in the response to the sorry guys, I was just scrolling away from it. So we're looking at page 45, the vehicle access, and it talks about the driveway width. There's 3.7 metres mentioned, and then a requirement of not less than 4.5. I just got a little bit lost in if that's wide enough or not.
Yes, please.
Through you, Madam Mayor, certainly there's a requirement under the parking code of the planning scheme when you're providing a number of X amount of car parking spots. In this case, when you're providing more than 6 parking spaces, you've actually got 100 or a width of 4.5 metres within the first 7.5 metres of frontage, and I guess that's allowed for cars to sort of not have that conflict of hitting one another or potential issue. So that's also been conditional planning permit as well, just to make sure that access has got appropriate width.
Okay, so the 3.7 metres. That's what it actually is.
So condition 4 of the recommendation requires the access width to be expanded to 4.5 metres.
Yeah, okay, so that'll be fixed up. Thank you. And there was a question, I guess, just more broadly with visitor accommodation. Is there any requirement for the length of that visitor accommodation? Does it mention short stay? Is there something that's legislated that we police, for want of a better word?
Through you, Madam Mayor, under the planning scheme, so visitor accommodation is defined as short or medium term accommodation, so people away from their usual place of residence. So I guess there's no set parameter.
Yeah, so no prescribed length of time, if it's 2 weeks, 1 week, 2 months, 6 months.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, councillor Ennis.
Thank you. Yeah, my question is that there's 6 bedrooms. Who checks that there's only 6 people in these visitors? Is that one of our roles?
Through you.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Yeah, certainly it's a condition of the planning permit, so it'll be the responsibility of the planning authority to ensure compliance. I guess we'll be relying on the neighbours if they've got some issues to follow it up.
Yep. And I'll ask again about landscaping. There's no landscaping sort of in this plan or whatever it says, and I know there will have to be some removal of trees, etc., for it to fit in. Is there any way that we can encourage that or specify that some landscaping appears around the property?
Through you, Madam Mayor, being that the actual building can comply with the acceptable setbacks in the zone, it's not an actual discretionary component. There isn't as such. I guess we can certainly encourage the developer to include landscaping, but it's not really a planning condition that we can enforce.
Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments or questions from the councillors? No, certainly this is a certain different style again of type of accommodation that we're looking at permitting tonight. And there are certain rules that these people then have to follow if it is seasonal work accommodation or if it's Airbnb or either type of accommodation. They certainly are going to looking at, that's what they're asking for. And we are aware that, you know, there are certain other areas where people take advantage and have too many people in a small room somewhere. And we certainly are aware of that issue that has caused angst elsewhere. And this certainly isn't going to be the case. As we said, we're very aware of what the conditions are, and they are certainly there in the recommendation for us to approve tonight. Thank you. I'll ask Councillor Viney to close.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, to reiterate what you're saying, I think it fits all within the planning scheme. There's clearly a need for this style of accommodation, not only in Devonport, and obviously when seasonal workers, if they're not looked after, and what we have seen in neighbouring councils, if people are doing the wrong thing, then it is enforced, and I know that we'll properly regulate it. So consider it close. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Therefore, we'll move into closing this Planning Authority meeting at 5:27, 28, 5:28. Thank you. Thank you very much for those attending, and thank you for the gentlemen in the public gallery. Thank you for attending. And we will be moving into a workshop very soon. Thank you.